Why do we lie? Is it merely stretching the truth, telling a fib, or bending reality? Isn't a lie just an alternative fact? Insecurities, trouble, fear, hiding a weakness, or acceptance? Is there ever a good reason to lie? I'm Gerard McClendon, and this is CounterPoint.
Lying is an attempt to bridge that gap, to connect our wishes and our fantasies about who we wish we were, how we wish we could be, with what we're really like. And boy, are we willing to fill in those gaps in our lives with lies. On a given day, studies show that you may be lied to anywhere from 10 to 200 times. Now, granted, many of those are white lies. But in another study, it showed that strangers lied 3 times within the first 10 minutes of meeting each other.
Welcome to CounterPoint. Call me at 844-777-9311. Hey, send me a tweet or a Facebook comment to Gerard MC. What is a lie? Why do we lie? At the CounterPoint today, I have Dr. Ali Sipra, professor at Governor State University, and I also have former law enforcement agent Corey Braddock. Welcome to the show. I appreciate both of you being here, and I hope that you tell me the truth as we talk about lies. So let's start the show off by asking this question. And I know, Dr. Sipra, you deal with developmental psychology, so I'm going to start with you. When do we first learn to lie?
Well, verbally, we first learn to lie almost as soon as we learn to talk. But we learn the concept of lying before we can even speak. When a parent tells an infant or a 1-year-old, no, don't do that, and the baby smiles or knocks something off again, they're essentially lying to you. They're trying to deceive you of their purposes.
So lying is learned behavior.
It is, but it's beneficial. So when kids are around 2 years old, their lies are very mundane. They're not very good at lying yet, which is, for us, a wonderful thing. We know when they tell a lie. Did you clean your room? Did you pick up your toys? Yes, I did, and the toys are all around. Of course, they didn't pick up their toys. But as they get older, they become more proficient at lying. And this may seem like a very bad thing or a negative thing, but it shows that their executive functioning is increasing and they're becoming more complex with their cognition.
So there's an intelligence to lying.
There is an intelligence to lying.
Okay, so, wow, man, it's gotten deep already. So why do we lie? And I guess I'm asking this once again from a developmental psychologist point of view. What may be 1 or 2 of the reasons for someone that young lying?
For someone that young and actually all into adolescence, it's really about boundary testing. How much can I do? What can I do before I get in trouble? But once we're adults, lying becomes more about maintaining relationships in some ways. We think of honesty as the key ingredient for relationships, but sometimes what we consider white lies are necessary to maintain friendships.
We want to talk about, is lying even worth it, a little bit later. And I have so many questions for you, Dr. Sipra. Corey Braddock, yes. You've been in some very interesting situations with law enforcement.
Law enforcement, teaching,
absolutely.
Life.
So let's deal with law enforcement first. I'm sure you've heard a lot of lies when you've pulled people over at some sort of a traffic stop or some sort of a violation. Did you know that a person was lying?
Yes. Most of the time, people lie with not what they say, but how they act. It's all about the body language. And that's what law enforcement officers usually go by. We'll listen for what you got to say, and it's basically the lie is codified in your actions.
Really?
Yes.
Eye blink, nose twitch, looking up and to the right or left to kind of create something that may not be the truth, but making it sound like it's true?
Yeah, but it's learned through situational awareness. If you do something tens of thousands of times and with different people, you start seeing people acting the same way when they're doing the same type of function. So it's not something that you learn and somebody take to class. It's just like she said, you become better at reading people the more you interact with people in bad situations. Or good situations. Sometimes people will lie to you. When she mentioned building relationships, like I know you, me and you friends, right? You know, Corey, my wife just bought these shoes. These are fantastic shoes. I love these shoes. You know, and then you say, Corey, what'd you think about these shoes? Man, I don't like those shoes.
Oh, wow. So
Now
now
the relationship is severed.
I like that. So now we're at the crossroads almost of how lies and truth can be told for reasons depending on the situation.
Yes.
And a lie doesn't necessarily, okay, I'm coming back to you, Dr. Cipra. A lie doesn't necessarily have to be damaging. A lie can help a situation.
Yes.
How?
Let's say that your grandmother's on her deathbed and she has one dying wish. What are you going to do?
Oh, try to fulfill it, I guess.
What if you can't? It's absolutely impossible for you to fulfill that, but you could tell her you did, and she would die in peace.
Should I tell her?
Should you?
So that she should die in peace.
Do you think that as an adult person, you would regret more causing pain in the last moments of someone's life,
Got you.
or a small lie to give them peace?
Okay, so peace can become a mitigating or even it could be a beneficial or detrimental factor. In this particular reason, the reason is to create peace and calm as opposed to increase turmoil. So, and it takes intelligence to do that, because, and I'm looking at an article that I read from National Geographic. It says the more intelligent the person, the more they lie. How could that be? How can my lying be equivalent to my intelligence?
How difficult is it to keep lies in order? To remember what lie you told to whom, and to keep that narrative running in your mind at all times for multiple people. It requires a lot of cognitive energy, a lot of brain power to be able to do that and to maintain it.
But be good at it.
And be good at it
good
so
at
that
it.
others are not aware that you are lying.
I get pulled over, Corey Braddock. I was going 78 in a 55. I tell you, officer, you know, I really was in a hurry because I'm trying to get to a loved one who is sick. Does the officer maintain law, or is there a balance? Does the officer go into empathy mode, or does the officer say, that's really irrelevant, you were going 78 in the 55?
I don't.
Do you feel they were lying, if you know that they were lying?
Well, I don't know of any officer while they're working go into empathy mode. Never. When you are now out there doing your job, you expect the lies. You expect the excuses. As a matter of fact, when I come up to the car, how you doing, sir, may I have you? And then you start giving me an excuse, I automatically assume it's a lie.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's a lie. I don't care if it's the truth. I just want to get this business done, be safe, and go about and move on.
That makes perfect sense. Dr. Cipra, 6 to 8-year-olds and over 60-year-olds lie the least. But it says 17-year-olds lie the most.
That doesn't surprise anyone, does it?
Yeah, and I'm gonna come back to that. And it says 9 to 12 and 18 to 44-year-olds are the middle of the bell curve. So before we get to the 6 to 8-year-olds and the 60-year-olds lying least, and the 9 to 12 and the 18 to 44-year-olds being in the middle, what's up with these 17 to 18-year-olds lying the most? What might create an atmosphere like that?
So this is the second stage of boundary pushing, right? The first stage is toddlerhood, and then that continues throughout early to middle childhood. But the time when someone feels like they're an adult, like they should have all the rights and responsibilities of an adult, is around 16, 17, 18 years old. But they're not an adult, right? So I want to do this, and you as my parent are not letting me do this. It's easier just to lie to you and go do what I want.
Efficiency. A lie can be, ooh, wow, see, man, I'm feeling guilty on my own show now, because I'm trying to think, man, when have I lied for efficiency? If the average person tells 11 to 20 lies a day, have I been lying today? So an efficient, probably. So an efficient lie beats the heck out of telling the truth and having to go through the turmoil of that.
That's where we get into the morality issue of lying.
Yeah.
I think we can probably all agree that there are times when lying is easier, and if it's not going to harm another person and it's not, going against a moral code, that we're more accepting of it. We're not being deceptive to harm someone. We just want to get on with our business, right?
Yeah.
I agree, but I've been told by a person that I respect very much. He wrote me a recommendation for when I was getting into graduate school, and he said that I was honest to a fault.
Wow. And
I said, man, how can a trait like honesty be to a fault if you are on a more honest spectrum part and not. And it's true. Remember when I was telling you about relationships, you mentioned that it's important for relationships, but some people have a trigger where they'll sense, should I make this person feel better? Should I tell the truth and let them ride with it? And I'm more along the lines, because I've been hurt by people lying, trying to make my feelings, help my feelings be better. Yeah. But I'd rather hurt your feelings now so that you can benefit from it later.
Wow. Go ahead.
But what's the benefit of him telling you he doesn't like your shoes, for example? And by the way, I'm not saying we should all run around telling lies and seeing how creative we can get. But something as inconsequential as your shoes that bring you great joy, Gerard says he likes them, and he really doesn't. You would rather him say, oh man, those shoes are horrible.
I shouldn't have asked him in the first place if I really
Perhaps,
cared.
but you did.
Yeah, but the thing is, I might be testing them, like you said about boundaries.
Oh, but is the test
It's the
a
test.
lie?
The test is about truthfulness, isn't it?
And that's the test. How honest are you?
Oh.
You see, and I'd rather somebody say, you know what, I don't like talking to Corey because, man, he gonna tell you the truth. Mm-hmm. But most people say, well, I want the truth. You see what I'm saying? Because if you don't know what that base, we all talk about the definition of something, all right? What is it defined by? Okay, is expungement a lie when you've been arrested? Oh. Is it a lie or is it true? Did you not get convicted? Yes or no? Oh. The expungement says it never happened. Is it beneficial? Yes, it's a remedy. Yeah. It's a remedy and it's beneficial. But is it the truth?
Is it the truth?
Now you're talking about morality.
It's like you need to check the box and then give an explanation of what actually occurred.
Exactly.
But sometimes people don't want the explanation, especially if we're in a black and white world or a 1-0 world. I gotta go to the next segment, you guys. I won't lie to you. Counterpoint will be back in a moment. Tweet me, post on Instagram, or send me a message on Facebook. Let's start the conversation. Your voice is important on Counterpoint.
We lie more to strangers than we lie to coworkers. Extroverts lie more than introverts. Men lie 8 times more about themselves than they do other people. Women lie more to protect other people. If you're in an average married couple, you're going to lie to your spouse in 1 out of every 10 interactions. Now, you may think that's bad. If you're unmarried, that number drops to 3. Lying's complex. It's woven into the fabric of our daily and our business lives. We're deeply ambivalent about the truth. We parse it out on an as-needed basis, sometimes for very, very good reasons, and other times just because we don't understand the gaps in our lives. That's truth number 2 about lying. We're against lying but we're covertly for it in ways that our society has sanctioned for centuries and centuries and centuries. It's as old as breathing.
Wow, we're covertly agreeing to lies. Welcome back to Counterpoint. Hey, what is a lie? Why do we lie? My guests are telling us the truth today when it comes to lies. I've got Corey Braddock and I've got Dr. Ali Cipra in the mix today. Men lie 8 times more than women, and they lie to protect themselves and to serve themselves. And when women lie, they lie to protect others. Dr. Ali Cipra, why is that? Men just lying all over the place.
If we look at this from an evolutionary standpoint, then men of any species want to perform, right, to secure a mate. In modern times, we may lie about our success, our money, whatever we have in order to look better for potential mates. This is just one explanation.
Yeah.
Women, however, are evolutionarily speaking more likely to lie in order to maintain the relationships they've built, to maintain harmony within a living community.
So we'll probably see men lying more on resumes, possibly.
Possibly.
Maybe lying more on Tinder or on a website looking for females, maybe. To gain advantage. You said it's possibly evolutionary. It may have something to do with, and especially when you talk about alpha males, they kind of walk into the room and just think they're the stuff.
Sure.
You know, let's look at a quote from Tim Levine. It says, "We all lie, but not all lies are the same. People lie and tell the truth to achieve a goal. We lie if honesty won't work."
Yes.
Wow. We lie, Corey Braddock, if honesty won't work. So, if honesty won't work, why can't we just deal with the consequence of the honesty?
People don't have the courage to deal with the consequences. I've already had enough happen to me badly that, okay, it's enough happened. I'm going to just go ahead and let it ride.
Yeah.
Because in the end, when 5-10 years down the road, when I approach that person again, they're going to thank me for being honest instead of, not having the courage. You know what I'm saying? I have the courage because I don't care.
This goes back to childhood, doesn't it? I'm so
Yes.
glad. I'm so glad
Yes.
she's on with us today,
That's
Corey,
true.
because we talked about the mandated social contract
Yes.
and all that on some other shows, and we tell children, don't tell a fib, don't tell a white lie, tell the truth. All the while we're modeling lies to the same child that we're telling to tell the truth.
Exactly.
Lying, it turns out, is something that most of us are very good at. In this National Geographic article, we lie with ease in ways big and small. We lie to strangers, coworkers, friends, and loved ones. Our capacity for dishonesty is fundamental to us and to our need to trust and distrust others. Some of the reasons why we lie, and chime in anytime you want. We lie for acceptance. You just mentioned that. We lie for fun. Some people lie for profit. Some people impersonate for gain. Catch Me If You Can, Leonardo DiCaprio. Secret agents have to lie. Wow, there's a case
Or
of
undercover cops, right?
undercover.
Well, but they are lying when they are playing a role that they are not. If you see, the officer is not lying because he's in the role. What he's doing is let me put it like this. He's performing.
Okay.
Okay, so his performance is basically to achieve a goal and to stay alive. All right? So the people are around him, he's just trying to capture them. He has to tell them a lie because they have tentacles out to detect when police come around.
Yeah.
So you have to be really, really good at, playing the game.
Oh.
And you have to be amongst it. Remember I was telling you about body language and reading it. Only seasoned officers or officers who are not well seasoned, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Can do an undercover job because they haven't been trained to walk and speak a particular way while in uniform. When you're in uniform, you have to act and you have to project a certainness, and
Yeah.
once you do it for long enough, it's hard to shed
ingrained.
You can't stop it. It's just, I haven't been a police officer for over 10 years, and people they're like, man, you act like the police. Why you? It's something that I can't shake.
You can't shake it.
On my first day in classes, my students can always tell that I've been in the military. First day.
How?
I used to ask them this question, and I walk in and I say, this is my name, this is how you address me, this is the class you're in, these are the expectations, these are the policies. These are the consequences if you violate these policies.
That's how they know.
That's how they know.
When I go to classes and I teach, I do the same exact thing. We have to have order. There has to be an authority and a subordinate. And that structure is what people recognize as military or paramilitary.
Con artists are liars, but they lie for strategic advantage. Pranksters, they lie to tell stories. Fabulists, they lie to tell stories, they lie for acceptance, and they lie for gain. We see this with Jason Blair, the New York Times reporter who told all those lies a few years ago. He was writing regular news stories for the New York Times, but then he started to embellish the stories, adding fiction to the stories to make the stories spicier, and then he started to plagiarize some of the facts of the stories. He eventually got caught. I think he may have won, prizes for these stories because they were so amazing, but he eventually gets caught. So is punishment or is getting caught, does that ever trump or does that ever lead to a person curtailing their lying? What do either of you think? Or does a person just continue to lie and say, I just won't get caught next time?
I think for most people, for the general public, once you're caught in a lie and you can't peddle your way out of it, then you cut to the truth, like Corey said. You come clean, and you're more careful about the lies you tell. To assume that we will never tell lies again is only lying to ourselves. But telling lies that could harm other people or that could elevate our social status may be less common after one has been caught and punished. So in some ways, that's the reason we have a judicial system. If punishment in certain situations didn't work, what would be the point?
Good. I like that. And this makes me think, and I'm trying not to bring up anything that's necessarily current, but you think of Senator Edwards, you think of former President Bill Clinton and how they can look you right in the eye and tell you a lie, and they've got that stern face going, and it's like, oh my goodness, I actually believe this person, But once they're found out, it's like you got to come clean at that point. When you think of FBI agents or CIA agents that have to kind of live in the cloud or the shroud of untruth, and in fact, if you tell the truth, that can jeopardize that can jeopardize thousands of people. It can jeopardize money. It can jeopardize safety. Witness protection is a lie of some sorts, but it has an overall good. You can't live in this neighborhood anymore because you're probably going to get killed. So we need to transport you to an entirely different community, and you will have to assume another identity because we need you to stay alive.
You mentioned we're talking about the criminal justice system. Everybody equates the process as being truthful or weeding out the truth, but you have so many people who are convicted who did not do what they were convicted of. And remember I talked to you about honesty, being honest to a fault, hurting somebody's feelings right now so they can benefit later. Many people who are kept from information is kept from them about the judicial system, laws, right? They're taken advantage of. The lie is that the judicial system is for everybody, and it is to benefit everybody. But in this day and age, it only benefits a certain group of people who benefit from the incarceration of poor ignorant people. And those people who are poor, should they be punished for being ignorant? No, it's not benefiting them. And you can see with the reincarceration of them over and over again, they're not doing it because they necessarily want to be in there. I'm not talking about institutionalized people who have to be institutionalized because they've been trained. They can't operate out of society. I'm not talking about them, but I'm talking about other people who are just caught in the mix.
Yeah. And they don't have the money to buy a legal team that can actually free them from their circumstances.
And if you don't have money, you can't use the judicial system for your benefit, even if you're right.
Yeah.
So that's a lie,
That's
right?
a lie. Yeah.
Okay. So
yeah, this is interesting. Boy, I got to have the two of you back. I want to talk about effortful control. I got about 30 seconds. What does that mean, effortful control?
Effortful control is like self-control, and we talk about this term with children especially. When children are learning how to stop from doing what they really want to do, or when they're learning how to do something that they'd rather not. Learning how to clean the room, learning how not to eat the candy, those types of things.
Can you use effortful control to curtail lying?
Definitely. I talk to my daughter, I have a 7-year-old daughter, and she is told to be truthful, but she's also told, don't tell somebody if you think their dress is ugly or if you think they're unhealthfully large. You know, what are the rules for children? And the rules for children are not the same that we have for adults.
Right.
Because adults realize that I can tell you something that gets the point across that may not be detrimental.
Got you. Man, I want to thank you two for being on the show. And that dress is ugly. Lies, lies, lies. Why do people tell lies? Post your reasons on Facebook, Twitter, and Gerard MC. And call 844-777-9311. Stay positive. I need you to keep your head up. Tell people if they have an ugly dress on. And always be encouraged to tell the truth. Have a great week.